Welcome, beautiful souls, to Unleashed. We are here today. We're going to do some deep dives on conversations about loss, specifically about children. And I'm your co host, Kimberly Anderson. And
I'm your other co-host, Cara Maldonado, and welcome. Empower We Find Purpose.
amen to that.
Yes.
So I know we're smiley right now, but this is a pretty deep subject we're going to get into. And one of the conversations that I remember having with the goddess on the platform, this particular goddess on the platform, it just kept like stopping me and giving me chills and tearing up in the conversation because it's grief and how we kind of go through it and the stages of it and really finding purpose after this great loss.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's said that loss can be anything from any situation as simple as and let's be clear when I say simple, because it's not simple. It's something that when women go through miscarriages, right?
Mhm.
It's simple to everyone else because it's not tangible. They can't see what you're going through. They can't feel it. They haven't identified, there's no bonding process. So it's dismissed a lot sooner than say the loss of someone because of a car accident or because of a terminal illness. But there's also the grief that you go through when you have scars from divorce.
Mm.
That's considered a loss as well. And, grief does not discriminate. It does not care who you are, how much money you make, what position you hold, how many loves you've had, and how many loves you lost. Each time it happens, it's a new pain. It's a new loss. It's a new grief. And and it's different for all of us. It's different for everyone. Some people can get over it as simple as it's done, it's there, give me a couple of days and then I'm good. And
Mhm.
some people it's a lifetime. What do you think about that?
It's so true. And it does hit people differently. And we all experience grief differently. And I feel like they say the stages of grief, but I feel like sometimes you kind of bounce between them. You know what I mean? Like it's not always there's step one and step two. Sometimes you're jumping to step five and then you're backtracking and so forth. And I think even the miscarriage, all these different types of things create a loss. And I never could understand it until it happened to me, and
Yeah.
I feel like when you it's something that's you're so sudden and it's so amazing, and I feel like what happens in those kind of situations is it's the hopes and the dreams and the visions of what's going to be, and then it's just stripped away moments,
Right.
and that I think causes a lot of that grief too. You're grieving over what could have been.
Right.
And I think that's what makes it so hard in those kinds of conversations that we have with different women and even men, like they feel that too cuz they have all these aspirations for what's about to happen in your life, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, excuse me, it's just different from whether it's a miscarriage type of situation to losing somebody in a car accident instantly. To divorce,
Mhm.
people don't think that. I love that you brought that up. People don't realize that it can be a loss.
Absolutely. And especially if in a lot of cases, you don't even see it coming. There's a buildup. You're
Yeah.
not getting a loan. There's things that are happening. But there are those cases you keep on wanting that hope, holding on to, we're going to get through this. We can fix it. All these different things. And then it happens. And you go through the most ugliest things from fighting over money, fighting over property, fighting over the children. Or you get the complete opposite where one of the individuals just walks away, just completely just walks away from everything and everyone in that relationship. And That's also a loss, you know? People really don't understand that grief, and it's not just you and your significant other. It is a loss to the entire family unit.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
the children go through it. Yes, their grief is different. In most cases, they're blaming themselves. And that's something that's never talked about, especially as women and we're married and we have a tumultuous relationship with our significant other and it ends up with, separation and or divorce. We're so wrapped up in what we're going through, the legalities of it, the technicalities of it and all those things that we don't stop to think about the children that are sitting there so hopeless, feeling like if I would have just got an A, if I would have just cleaned up my room, if I wouldn't cry so much, maybe mommy and daddy will still be together.
Yeah.
And we skip that line of communication and reassurance and explaining to them because we're like, this is grown folks stuff. But it's really not. It's
Mm-mm.
everybody and anyone around. If you have in-laws living with you, the dog, the family dog, everyone is feeling it.
Yeah.
And, this is why we're talking about this subject is because we want to bring awareness to in a way where you're maybe not be looking at it in that way. There's so many different ways to look at it and to process what that kind of pain and what that feeling is, and then how to get through it.
And there's just as many of a variety
Yes.
of ways people can not get through it, but get through that grief and that pain so you can continue to live life
Yes.
and still find happiness and still find success. One of the things that she talks about when she lost her daughter, when she was even finally able to think again, is she started practicing samyama. And it is a modality and there's three levels she talks about in this one. And it's about understanding how to be in your heart space. And she said she always understood, being heart centered because she felt that way anyway. And a lot of us healers do, right?
Right.
But she kept talking about how it just brought her closer to her purpose and how she was able to move through and heal through the pain of it. And I just wanted to read a couple of these, which are the first level is about bringing awareness into our hearts. And she also teaches this now because it helped her. And, you know, we always say we
Yeah.
go down in these paths because of the experiences we've gone in, right?
Absolutely.
And she has there's several different exercises to do this and to get to that, but it's that first part is just being aware. And then the second piece of that is meditation and being in a meditative state. And then ultimately that third level is to have those feelings, the release
Mm.
and having intuition and joy and all of that come back into your heart space. And I found it really interesting when she talked about her story and how she just really she said, "I didn't know even what to do." She slept walk through just days of her life after this,
Right.
and she got this message that it's too high of a price to pay not to live the life you were meant to live for herself,
Yeah.
and, it still gives me chills.
Yeah.
Makes me wanna cry. And so I just thought that this was such a good part of what we were gonna talk about today
Yeah.
and include her story in this because she really just going through all of those steps, and she still had another child, and so you're now feeling guilty that you're not giving that other child
Right.
attention and all the things because you're too busy grieving and mourning this loss.
Yes.
And that can go again across the board in all of these different things that we were talking about a minute ago.
Mhm.
Your
Absolutely.
attention, what you focus on is what's going to continue to keep showing up. And so
Right.
if that's all you're focusing on, then everything else kind of feels like it goes by the wayside.
Yeah. But I love what you just read, what you said, was just, I'm probably not, paraphrasing it the exact way, but what I got out of it was finally acknowledging how important you are as an individual and how to love yourself, and that it's okay to do that. It's not being selfish. It's not forgetting the loss of the person per se or the situation. It's accepting. It's accepting what has become now and learning how to move forward with your because that's really what it is. And if it means that the individual is no longer here on earth with us, and they're now in spirit with us, whatever it is, or if it's a divorce that is happening, a loss of a family pet, a loss of a job, because that's a loss as well. People can really wrap their whole identity around their careers, so much so that when that goes away, they don't know what to do with themselves. You start struggling with the importance in who you are and what are you bringing to the table now, and all these different things. And she said in just one sentence, basically, love yourself. Start with loving yourself and and that's your heart center. That's where we need to go and realize it's not just beating the blood through all our body and oxygen. It is literally, let's just not be metaphorical with this. Let's go and say, if you got to love who you are in its entirety in
Yeah.
order to expect other people to love, respect, and behold you in any kind of way. And we, especially women, we get so caught up in all the things and all the hats that we wear that we forget that the first and the most important person is to take care of you, us, me,
Yeah.
because if we don't, who's going to do it? And how long can we sustain being everybody's everything?
Yeah, you just can't. It's not sustainable. And I loving yourself, and I love how you said you're new, because it is. And you brought up your identity.
Yeah,
Women have that crisis a lot. And especially, I think we talked to quite a few people where they have all the kids are grown up, and
right.
all they've done, took a step back to
Yeah,
raise the kids. And now they're 40 to 50 years old, and they're like, I don't know who the hell I am.
right.
Like, all the kids are grown. I used to do this, but now I'm an
Yeah,
empty nester. I haven't had those work skills anymore for
yeah.
20 years or whatever it's been. And they feel absolute loss and emptiness. And that actually has even brought on depression,
Yep.
because all they knew at that point in their life was that they were mom
Mhm.
and wife, and
Right.
they were excellent at it.
Yeah,
Now what?
right.
And it's another loss. And yes, we have those heartfelt, when the kids leave, we all feel it. Well, some are yay, but not me.
They've
I
already
miss
got
mine.
your room, new decorations.
Right. No, not me. I miss mine, but there are a lot of people that are yelling
Yes. Mhm.
joyous words to the rooftops for sure about it.
Right.
But no, there's so much grief around all these different things and how we heal. And she talked about one of the things that she talks about, which I think also just can go through everything. It doesn't erase the trauma as you keep healing and living your life. That was one of her biggest things, is how do I have joy and live my life when there's this pain and the trauma?
Yeah.
And it doesn't remove what happened. It just
Right.
helps you heal through what that pain was. And I'm remembering I wanted to pull something out of here again too. I'm looking at her chapter, and it was just really powerful. I hope I can find it while we're chatting. She really talked about just shifting and recognizing that it's not going to go away.
Mhm.
And the memories that pop up for her of, in this case, her daughter, she isn't it not having a negative reaction to it anymore. It's,
Right.
oh, I get to, I have this memory, I have this moment of her, instead of it being just this negative reminder. And
Right.
so I think that's another shift in mindset when it comes to healing when we're talking
Absolutely.
about loss.
Absolutely. And you're right. It is the mindset in the shift. And so it's doing the work. And
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
intentionally making that decision that you have to do the work no matter what the loss is, all the way from a job to an actual human being and a
Mhm.
divorce, everything in between. You have to sit with it. You go through like just want to talk about those levels of grief first, right? The psychiatrist Kubler-Ross in the 70s who came up with those 5 stages of grief, because we're all in denial when it happens.
Oh,
You're in denial. You're
disbelief,
complete.
denial.
Nope, no, he didn't leave me. He'll be back. No, I didn't. I didn't do whatever it was to make this happen. No, everything. And then you get pretty pissed off, right? You're mad. You're mad that you're even
Mhm.
having to be delusional. You're mad about that in the first place because someone's called you out on the carpet, right? And so you're going through that. So then you're bargaining and pleading and going, but wait a minute, what could I have done different? What should I have said? Where could I have be? All these different things, and then you brought it up. There's that deep depression. The deepest depression you go into. Now, mind you, if you don't go through all these stages, if you jump from denial to now I'm accepting it, you've missed everything in between. You haven't done the work. Now,
Mhm.
we said in the beginning, everybody goes through it differently. And you made a very good point that it doesn't always come at the same time. You don't have to follow the stages like that. Then you get to acceptance. You may go from denial to depression to coming back and being mad to then bargaining about the whole thing and then finally accepting it. It's different for everybody, but you must process it in that way and the time. There's no time frame. Someone will say to you, yeah, God, it's been long enough. My sister's been gone for what is it now? 15 years, and there's still moments that I get sad, but I've done a lot of work and I've understood what her goals were in life and what her mission was and her level of love for me. And what she wouldn't want is for me to have not moved on with my life and done the things that I needed to do, be the best mother, sister, daughter, and all those things, wife, yeah, I was going through a divorce then, but anyway, you know, uh, all those things, right? And let that be affecting me. So it's also understanding your position in the relationship to whatever that loss is. And realizing, okay, it's you lost a job, you lost what you thought was your career with this particular company. When one door closes, another one opens, right? So it's to be able to wrap your mindset around, okay, this happened, let me process this happened. I there was nothing I could have done. There's no one's fault. There's no blame here. This happened. But what do I do now moving forward? How can I be better? How can I be stronger? Draw strength from it.
Yeah.
Draw strength from it and teach one each one, right? Just keep it moving forward. And that doesn't mean you forget that person that
Right.
or that child that could have been part of that family. The job that may have paid you a whole lot of money right there. Then you balance all money's not good money, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot of things that people don't sit there and give their self grace.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
really have to start giving ourselves grace and accepting things and realizing there is a reason for everything.
Yeah.
What is that? What is
Yeah.
that? It doesn't always have to be negative.
No. And we'll never know the reason until someday.
Right.
And I know this particular conversation has kind of gone all over the board as far as the types of grief and the types of reasons why we wind up in those situations. But again, it goes back to if we think of just the theme of grief, it
Mhm.
comes in many different forms from a great loss to a job loss. And I know that's a huge spectrum, but it's really important to understand that you can still grieve those things and it's okay. It's called being human and going through those stages, if that's what it is. If a job loss is the worst thing that's ever happened to you, it's going to impact you far more significantly or as bad as it's somebody losing something much greater. It's
Yeah.
just part of the life and the journey that we're on and that we're living, and it's just about remembering that whatever the thing was that happened that brought you to that point of grief, there is light at the other side of that. There's light at the end of that tunnel. There is healing and joy
Yeah.
once you get to that point. And don't skip steps. If that's what you feel, the anger, feel the disbelief, feel the sadness, the depression, it's okay to cry. It's okay to go through those things. And so we wanted to just come on here today and just share with everybody that there's a lot of grief that can happen in your life. Sometimes it feels like it's one after the other. There is still light at the end of the day. God's got a bigger purpose and we totally get it. We've been there. We've gone through a lot of it.
Yes.
We've done probably quite a few of the things that we talked about today.
That is true.
But as always, we absolutely appreciate you spending your time with us and just remember to be unleashed.
Absolutely. And again, if any of this has resonated with you or you know someone who is going through a loss right now and experience grief, share this video with them, like and subscribe and drop in the chat, the comments here, what you thought about it. And if there's anything in particular that you want us to touch on. And again, when I post the video, I will put a national hotline number in there for someone who wants to seek help if they're going through anything, just to learn some coping strategies. And thank you so much, everyone, and be
Absolutely.
well.
Be well.